Hey everybody, we're going to talk about in-text citation. You should have just finished up Station 1, where you reviewed how to make a source citation, a citation sentence that goes at the end of a paper or project in your works cited page. And now we're going to talk about parenthetical or in-text citation. It shows that you have quality research and that you're proud to share it where it came from. It connects your source citation to the place in your writing, right in your paragraph, which you've used that research, and where it's been located, and where you can now find it in the works cited page from the books and websites you've used. Very easy to use. You simply place the name of the author and the page number of the source in parentheses at the end of the sentence where you've used the research. And we're going to look at that in just a second. Let's see an example here. All right, I was writing a paper about the nutritional facts of McDonald's, right? And I found out that McDonald's Artisan Grilled Chicken Sandwich had 19 grams of fat. I found that on. Did not go to McDonald's and do laboratory tests myself on the Artisan Chicken Sandwich. I found that on McDonald's website. So my parenthetical citation stops right there when I use that fact and lets the reader know immediately where it came from. McDonald's Nutrition Calculator is the breadcrumb or the indicator that lets the reader now go back to the works cited page. And here's my source citation. This right here would be on my works cited page, and it tells me the name of the article because there was no author, the rest of the citation, and at the end of the citation I have the URL. Now newsflash, 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 and I'll be telling you this at every station, URLs are now added at the end of a source citation on your works cited page because it makes it really easy now for teachers if you're uploading your paper online, they can simply, just like this, click, just like this right here, I can click on the website and go directly to the spot on a website where you got the information. Now it's going to make you more accountable because now the teacher can go directly to that website, not even leave your work, and then check to make sure what's in your paragraph matches what's on that website. If you look on here, I've used the entire title. I've put it in quotation marks because that's how it is on my citation. And now when I move it down to my paper while I'm writing my paper, I put parentheses, the quotation marks because the quotation marks were there in the source citation title, parentheses, and a period. The period lets the reader know that everything in that sentence that comes before the period came from this website. Right, let's look at what you would use if you had a print source. I'm writing a book report about Harry Potter, and I found this quote, "You are mistaken," said Voldemort. Now, I didn't write that. It came from J.K. Rowling. I put just the author's last name, no first name, and the page number it came from. I don't put a P in front of it, just the page number. The reader assumes those numbers mean pages. I put it within parentheses and a period at the end. Again, that lets the reader know that everything that came before that period in that sentence comes from, in this case, a book by J.K. Rowling on page 444. So let's take a look at what that source citation, the one that would be on your works cited page, looks like. The author, the author's last name, the title of the book, where it was published, the year it was published. Now I know that it came from, there's lots of Harry Potter books, right? It came from the Half-Blood Prince. If I checked out the Half-Blood Prince online, or I went to the library and checked out the print book, I could turn to page 444 and find that exact quote on page 444. You get it? Okay. So, in-text citations go at the end of a sentence. They're in parentheses before a period. The period is what lets the reader know that everything has ended with that source. Let's take a look at an example here. This is a paragraph I wrote a while ago about global warming. Is global warming real? Scientists certainly believe it's true. So what causes the Earth to get warmer? The Earth's temperature rises when greenhouse gases are emitted into the atmosphere. I have a parenthetical citation. The sentence, the Earth's temperature rises when greenhouse gases are emitted into the atmosphere, that did not come from me. I'm not a scientist. I didn't find that information myself. I got it from a source. So I now can look here and say David and Gordon. I'm going to assume, you have to assume, that David and Gordon are the last names of the authors. Let's take a look. I'm going to take that David and Gordon information, go to my Works Cited page, and look for a citation that has the authors David and Gordon. And if I look here, Lori David and Cambria Gordon. So that first citation, in-text citation, came from this book on page 27. And if I turn to page 27 of that David and Gordon book, I would find that sentence paraphrased or summarized. Since 1990, yearly emissions have gone up by 6 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent worldwide, more than a 20% increase. Here's my second parenthetical citation. In this sentence, I have information about metric tons of carbon dioxide and the increase of emissions, and it comes from this source. By looking at this source, you probably guess what kind of source it came from, website or print. If you guessed website, you're doing really good, right? It doesn't have an author's last name, so that makes the reader think that it probably comes from a website. And let's take a look. Global warming causes. Global warming causes, climate change causes, National Geographic. Well, that's a big, long title. And because it's so long, I've cut it down to just long enough so that the reader can find the source on the Works Cited page. You can cut it off, use your best judgment. If I would have cut it off to here, I would have confused the reader, right? Because then there'd be two global warming articles. So I put in the causes so that the reader would know without a doubt that it came from this website. And now if I click on that, the reader or the teacher can go to that website and should be able to pop it up right away, and it should go right to that page. Let's look at our next one. Richard Buckley exclaims that because CO2 stays in the atmosphere decades, that half of the CO2 you put in the atmosphere today will still be there when your grandchildren are born. What? Look at this, I just have a page number. Why would I just have a page number there? That's right, because I've used the author's name in the sentence already. I've used his name here so the reader automatically knows that the information that I'm writing about comes from something written or published by Richard Buckley. Now, since it came from a book, I have a page number. But if it didn't come from a book or a website, and the citation began with Richard Buckley, I wouldn't have to put anything there. So Richard Buckley explains that because CO2 stays in the atmosphere for decades, half of the CO2 you put in the atmosphere today will still be there when your grandchildren are born. If I go to my Works Cited page, now I'm going to look for Richard Buckley's name on some kind of Works Cited. Let's see. Sure enough, Buckley Richard, A Planet Choking on Waste. Here's the book. Now if I went to his book and turned to page 102, I would find that information that I used in that sentence right on that page. You catching on? It's not that hard, right? You just have to kind of learn the ins and outs. Let's look at one more. The rise in the amount of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere and the length of time it stays there directly impacts global warming. That idea was not my idea. It came from this source and the citation begins with research areas in quotation marks. So I'm going to go to my Works Cited page and research areas. Computers play a crucial role in preserving the Earth, the National Science Foundation. Okay, so this article that did not have an author began with research areas, and I found it immediately by simply going to the Works Cited page because my parenthetical citations matched up so well. All right? Your in-text citations is your brand. Now it's your turn to give it a try. Do task 2, and when you're done, bring it to me and I'll take a look and see how you did.